before, like the Chill Out OG, the last one that I grew versus the one I grew now are dramatically different. The one that came out now is very piney, like dramatically piney, versus the other one was a little more floral with the pine and spice to it. But like this one, if you smoked them side by side, you didn't look at the plant, you'd totally not think it's the same shit. So if I described this to somebody and I called it Chill Out OG, they'd be like, that's not Chill Out OG. But like, this is a particular phenotype and an expression that came from it. So that's where I feel like it almost would make sense to rename that, but say it's a cut of this. Like white truffle is a cut of gorilla butter, but nobody says that often. They just say white truffle. But there should be some sort of clarification, because phenotypes, you know, those unique characteristics, I feel like need to be expressed when somebody's purchasing it or when they're getting a cut or when they're going to buy the flower. They're like, hey, is this the same? Is this that same cut? Like, how else do you describe it by just saying that cut?
Well, let's put it this way. Every other company or marketing brand has figured it out. You know, it's like, how many brands of pop, Coca-Cola are there out there? There's Coca-Cola Cherry, Coca-Cola Vanilla, Coca-Cola Diet, Coca-Cola. Just keep the name, add the expression, right? So it's like, if it's stretchy, you know what I mean? Then okay, this is GSC long legs, okay? Or, you know, if it's got really good something that's really speaking to the lemon or the, you know, something, then it's like, okay, well, this is Girl Scout cookies, you know, sour, or like I do think there was a time where we did do that, but now it's just gone so far down the lane of just like, let's just call it something so far. Let's come up with the craziest name possible and then add it to the label. That's kind of where we're at, because we've got stupid names now.
Dude, even with like, again, with white truffle, I'm like, how does gorilla butter turn into white truffle? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to go get gorilla butter, order those seeds. Like, I remember, shout out to the homie Kurt, he sought them out at the Cannabis Cup a few years ago. Well, now like 6-7 years ago. It's a while. And he searched hard, found the ones, never found the same phenotype. It was comparable, but it was really, really mild, wonky grower. And so, you know, fast forward to today, no one says gorilla butter, they say white truffle. So are we like just going to rename gorilla butter as white truffle? You know what I'm saying? Or are people just misidentifying cultivars? It's hard to tell.
You mentioned the Chill Out OG kind of having different phenotypes. I'm trying to remember if you got the F1s, F2s, or F3s.
I grew the F1s first. These ones are F2s that I got.
So that makes perfect sense for why. And, you know, that's one of the things, there's so much debate when it comes to people saying, oh, you shouldn't release F1s. People who are only doing that cross, that first generation, then releasing it, you shouldn't do it because there's no stability in it, right? And that's one of the things that I became aware of. And then I was like, oh, you know, I think you're right. So let me continue to breed this. Let me continue to stabilize it, moving it down generation to generation, F2. Now I'm on F3. It's looking pretty good so far. And as far as not making prior generations available, I've kind of changed, you know, I kind of lean towards not just keeping it as F3s. You know, I'm thinking about releasing the F1s and F2s along with the F3s. That way, there's just so much that can come out of it. You know what I mean? And if somebody doesn't like the F3 that I created, you know, what comes out of that? Well, they can go back a generation and go back 2 generations in order to hunt through that and find what they're looking for and then use that on their cross. And that's one thing I'm going to encourage people once they do get their hands on the Chill OG is use it to cross your own strains. You know what I mean? That would be a huge honor if people were to do that, if they take something I created and then use it in their projects. And all of a sudden there's, you know, they find something what they like, obviously off the cultivar, use it in their projects. And all of a sudden they're starting to see what they're looking for out of that project.
This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.